They will battle the Coyotes.
And
hello.
we're looking for the lovely James Sharman. By the way, this brought to you by Real Pies. Also found, is it Steve's Quality Meats? Is that the butcher?
That's the one, yeah.
Right on the Danforth. I was very excited that you broke in to late at night into the butcher shop to show us where you kept the pies in the frozen.
Yeah, they have no idea that I'm there. They have no idea that I'm there.
It's like, what's he doing late at night?
It's something it is. You check out butchers late at night, man. It's an eerie place.
Well, yeah. Well, when you see the organs and things lined up inside the glass, I guess it can be a little creepy. But congratulations on that. And by the way, I've got to have the curry one. I still haven't got yet. I think I got to get it this weekend. The chicken curry.
Hey, no problem at all, man. I can hook you up. I know a guy.
You know a guy. Well, you know what? Maybe Javinko knows a guy, because while not looking at him and doing sort of that backwards little flick on, that goal by Altidore, I got to be honest, sometimes people who maybe haven't been watching, what Major League Soccer has looked like over the years. And maybe it's been a long time since people have been doing the eye rolling. But I'll tell you what, that term, when you talk about quality, when you talk about world-class quality, that goal last night was as good as a goal as I've seen in any league in a long time. It was absolute magic.
I'm so glad you mentioned Javinko in that goal, because, I've heard all the accolades towards Altidore, and so he should. There's a narrative there in itself. But I agree with you. That hold-up play by Javinko was just outstanding. This is a guy that we know is prone to going to ground easily, I think it's fair to say. But on this occasion, he stayed on his feet. He showed great strength to hold off a defender. And then that little sublime backheel to Victor Vasquez, who then found Altidore for the goal. It was a fantastic goal. It really was. Every facet of play was brilliant. So, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because Javinko, he gets a lot of accolades, and so he should for his goal-scoring attributes. But that was a great example of a guy that refused to go down and stayed on his feet and made the play.
And what a release from the Red fans who, once again, it's so hard, as you know, James, to go to a championship, but to lose the way they did on their home pitch last year, to keep the kind of focus and concentration, to actually get back there, that might be harder than a team that goes in and gets blown out or doesn't make the playoffs. There's just as much pressure, or if not more, to keep that composure, and knowing that you had to go like literally another 365 days to get another shot at this. And it looks like, it could be Seattle again. It could be Houston. Who do you think it's going to be between the two?
Yeah, well, at this point, I think Seattle, they're up 2-0, and they're going home. And I just cannot see Houston scoring, 2 goals, let alone 3 goals, on the road. But, yeah, you're right. They showed some real, veteran guile, is a way to put it, this season. Josie Altidore said post-match that, what amazed him about this team was literally the day after that defeat last year, they came into the ground and they started discussing, okay, how will we get back here? When do we start working out again? What we're going to eat this summer? Breaking it down. They had a game plan, and it's been executed almost to perfection so far. They were the best team in the regular season, one of the best, if not the best ever. I mean, the points speak for themselves. They were the best ever. And then they got into the playoffs, which is a very different brand of soccer. It really is. And people are saying, well, they're not blowing teams away like they were in the regular season. Well, it's a bit like playoff hockey in that, the chicken gets tighter, so to speak, different games. And now they're grinding out results, and they're still playing with that confidence. So, yeah, I think they deserve all the accolades they're getting right now.
Hey, James, good morning. Good to talk to you. I had to ask you about the Victor Vasquez penalty kick. As soon as he was stopped, and it was a great shot, even a better save, there was a lot of people on Twitter, and I know you were doing the play-by-play last night on The Fan, but a lot of anxious moments at BMO Field. Did that just kind of add on to it, going, when the hell is this team going to score? And they better not let something in, or this could be disaster with one single goal against.
For sure, you got the sense at that point that maybe this wasn't going to be the year. They're experienced, and they're the longest drought of the season. This is a team that just bossed the entire season, scoring so many goals, and they've been scoreless in 2 games plus entering this one. And then that happens, and Javinko's on the field, and Aldidore's on the field, and you think these guys can take penalties, but as Vasquez steps up, and in fairness, he's been very good from the spot this year. I think he's been 3 for 3 entering that kick. And then, it was an okay penalty. I was actually standing right beside Craig Forrest when he saved it. I was doing radio last night, and I looked at Craig, and he just kind of shook his head and just pointed at the height of the ball. It was a perfect height for a goalkeeper to make the save. Now, it was still a great save. Let's not take nothing away from Zach Steffen, the great young goalkeeper for Columbus. but it wasn't the best penalty. And at that point, you kind of got this sense around the ground like, wow, there's a bit of nerves here. This team's playing nervy right now, and I think that the fans could feel it.
Yeah, and you know what? The other thing, too, is not only that, now that was a stop and they went to halftime, everything was fine, but I believe it was the 80th minute. The Columbus Crew had a beautiful cross which missed two of their players. And when you look at the replay, it's like, how the hell could both of those players miss that opportunity? That may have been the best opportunity out of the entire game, out of both teams. Like, how they didn't convert is something they'll be thinking about all winter long.
They had two or three good chances, and that was probably the best chance. You're right. It was a great ball in, and I think Ola Kamara and Justin Miram, I think, were the two players, couldn't quite get to it. And both those players had several chances. And you look at this game, it's a game of inches, right? It really is.
Yep.
And a game of quality. And if Columbus just had a little more quality on those passes, a little more, maybe an inch either way, it could have been a very different situation entirely. But, give Columbus their dues. They played really well. They had a good game plan entering TFC. And like I said, the parity in this league is pretty strong. And this team was the better team than TFC in the last month or two of the season. And I think they showed that at times in that game. But it could have been so different. But I guess that's why they play the games.
We're in conversation with James Sharman here on rawmikerichards.com, watching both on the website and the dedicated YouTube channel. Just curious in terms of monies and keeping teams together. Is this a TFC team that you can see, at least from, I guess, MLSE, that they're going to keep this for a long time?
Oh, I think so, yeah. I mean, speaking to some of the executives as far as in charge of sponsorship, the money is just rolling in to that stadium. They can charge a lot of money for ad space, and they sell everything at that stadium and around that club. All those players are under long-term contracts. They're really enjoying it. Altidore said last night post-match, he hopes this is his last day baseball. He wants to play this for TFC the entire remainder of his career. So these guys are locked up long-term. We saw last year, that there's one big hole in that team, and it was that creative midfielder. And they went out and got Victor Vasquez, who might be their best player now. They spent the money. And speaking to Tim Bezpachenko yesterday before the match, he was saying, we know what we need to do, where we can improve. And there is commitment from ownership. So, this team, the long-term plan is for this team to contend every single year, be a perennial contender, not just a flash in the pan every couple of years. And I think they understand that they can do it. And in a cap system, they can afford to do it too, because, like I said, BMO Field, it rolls in the money.
Well, I know you won't have a long time with us, but I do have to throw this in, James. The outrage of Ireland not being in the World
I
Cup
knew that was coming, Mike.
from those cheating bastards from Denmark. You know what? They didn't even invent the Danish. Did you know that's true? They didn't do it. That's awful.
It didn't. You know what? Listen. I understand that first leg, why you might have thought you had a chance, but I think Christian Eriksen proved everyone wrong in that second game performance. I like the Irish men. I'm with you. That they show great character, right, throughout qualifying. They always do, but they lack some serious quality, right? And looking at the kids coming through the Irish system right now, Mike, I hate to say it, pal, but there isn't much.
No,
this might be, World Cups and European Championships might be rare events for Irish fans right now.
Well, and again, when you get to that level, when you see quality versus quality, you see, where other players are playing in some of the bigger leagues in the world. For Ireland, it seems to get a little smaller and smaller each year, and some of the other countries, continue to get, because it was a mismatch on paper, and I'll be honest, when they scored that early, I was like, what the fuck are you doing? They only have one in them. You have to save that for like the 88th minute is kind of how those games work, because the Irish games all tend to look the same after a while. But what kind of World Cup do you think it's going to be? No USA. I mean, there's a lot of obviously big countries that aren't going to be there. How do you think this plays out in Russia?
Yeah, I mean, no Italy, obviously, no Netherlands. That's huge, and that's a shame. And we'll talk about that in the build up to it. But once the tournament kicks off, the tournament transcends the individual nations. That being said, you know what? I hate to say it, right? Because I always loved international football, but I don't expect a great tournament just because I don't think international football right now is great. I think it's so tactical. It's so pragmatic. It's let's not lose as opposed to let's try and win. Very defensive. Euro last year was abhorrent at times. It was terrible games. And I get a really bad feeling we could see the same next year in Russia. I hope I'm wrong. These things do change. Cycles change, and you see teams and national philosophies changing and becoming more attacking. But I've got a concern it might be very defensive once again. And let's hope the Germanys and the Brazils decide to go against that and attack it and provide some flash. Because, yeah, listen, I'll watch it, obviously. I'll watch it closely. I watch every game. But am I confident I'll be wowed by the brilliance of it? No, sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Hey, James, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Always great to have you on, my friend.
Thanks, buddy.
And hopefully we'll see you again real soon.
Fellas, loved it. Enjoyed it. Speak soon.
That is James Sharman joining us from Rogers Sportsnet. Obviously talking about the huge win last night, TFC.
What? We just become best friends? Yep.